viewers, I welcome you back to the second segment of the same topic, modern day slavery. That is what we are dealing with. You had Emily Martins from the Salvation Army earlier on, and you had Bilikisu Savage from Africa. Now, in the studio with me, giants, if there is anything called giantess. I have the giantesses, which is the female giant, and of course, the male giant. You may not be as tall, but it's a giant. To my right, immediate right, I have Rosalind Sonny, I just say RSA. She's a movie producer. They'll all tell you about themselves, never mind about me. And then far right, I'll skip the gentleman. He's a chief, by the way. Now to the lady, Mrs. Ronke Aliu Dofia. She's also a prominent person in the society. They all tell us about themselves, but they're here to tell us more about modern day slavery, the impact in the society, how we can stem it, our duties, and I'll start with the gentleman. You pardon me. Chief Dr. Popuola, over to you. Tell us first about yourself, and then of course do justice to the topic at hand.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your welcoming us to this program. For me, modern day slavery should never have been started. Since the old slavery was abolished 200 years ago, we shouldn't be in this position. But where we are now, and in my position as a community leader, I will do my best to make sure we eradicate modern day slavery. And the way I look at that, my name is Sunday Popuola. I'm a lecturer at Imperial College London. And my name has got 2 P's, Popuola. And I've added 2 P's to that. And that's the way I remember, or that's why I would like to fight modern slavery. And the first P, I see that as pursue. It's not just chasing them. Pursue and prosecute those guys. Because once you stop that, obviously, it won't go any further. And while you're doing that, you also prevent by educating those people that are falling into this trap. So it needs to go hand in hand.
PPP.
Yes, pursue them and prevent. And again then, if any of them then comes over, okay, if you pursue 10 and 1 or 2 slip through, then you have to be ready to prepare so that when these guys are caught or when these victims are being brought over here, you have to be ready to be prepared to help them or encourage them to come forward so that they can really report this problem and it could be dealt with. And by that, you will need to partner with people like Salvation Army and Africa, because all of us, yes, you said we should use our ears and whatever to enhance to find this thing, but we can't do it all. Or even though if we find this guy, what do we do? How do we help them? So you channel them to the Africa and Salvation Army. And I'm sure a number has been given earlier, so please remember that number, 0800 is 0121.
Is 08,000.
Is 0800 is 0121 700. That's where I remember. And finally, obviously, you need to then make sure we have mechanism to bring these people back into the society, you know, to realign them, because they've been through so many trauma. And we've heard earlier on how Africa and Salvation Army are able to help on this. So I will allow the little ladies, the beautiful ladies beside me to contribute something as well. So thank you very much for that.
Who want to talk first?
Okay, I don't mind.
Mrs. Ronke Aliu Dofia.
Yes, good evening, good day. Yes, Ronke Aliu Dofia is my name. I'm the first vice chair of the Central Association of Nigerians in UK. And I'm also a champion for Africa. The point that, I mean, there have been so many points that have been made this evening and very valid points, but in terms of the community, we need to crack the barrier of silence. We've talked about being the eyes, we've talked about being the ears, but we also need to be able to access where this gouge is happening. And so the work that I encourage is to be able to build the trust with our members of the community. We need to build that. Many people will tell you that it's an informal form of welfare system. Let me look after the young person of a family that perhaps doesn't have what I have or what we have. And then when they get into closed doors, atrocities happen. This is the challenge that we're having. So you have a block. People don't want to talk about it. But when you give them the get out of jail free, i.e. a situation whereby you can actually look after a young person, make sure that that person has a proper, comfortable home, all the hallmarks of what love is, then you're fine. When they know that, they will open up and say, okay, Ronke, what do I do? How do I do that? Meanwhile, we continue to be the eyes and ears for the situations where we see people who are badly treated. We must report them. In the face groups, in the environments, in the nail bars, wherever, we must report. But the point that I come from is to speak to those communities that believe what they're doing is a welfare type of thing. They need to do it properly, is what I'm pushing on.
Okay. Rosalie?
Good evening, viewers at home. As you popularly know me, my name is Rosalie Sani Jose. People call me RSA. I'm a movie producer, I'm an actress, theatre nurse, and also an ambassador for Africa Children Charity for anti-slavery. My own contribution to the whole process of modern day slavery is from the movie aspect point of view. Because sometimes when we keep talking and talking about a particular subject, people might not really get the impact until it's actually being put into motion pictures. When you see, we're talking about knife and crime now. If somebody can actually put that into motion picture and see somebody exactly, you see the effect. That is why we came in as a production company to produce the movie In a Strange Land. In a Strange Land is a true life story of a young lady that was brought here from Nigeria, and then she was locked indoor. We're talking about this modern day slavery now. We're talking about this 10, 12 years ago. She didn't know what to do until she saw my last project, which was Labor, and then she decided to confide in me and say, please, can you tell people my story? I, in particular, didn't even know modern day slavery exists in the UK. Because as far as I'm concerned...
Until you came in contact with this person.
As far as I'm concerned, I believe we live in a society that is law and order. People are doing it in Nigeria, doing it in Africa, getting away with it. But we're talking about UK, United Kingdom, that is so much cherish their law and order. You go against the law, you get persecuted for it. So that's why we came in as a movie producer, and we put everything to do with modern day slavery, put it into motion picture. Believe you me, we've taken the movie around the whole world, and people are really amazed.
You created awareness.
Yes. The awareness of modern day slavery is huge out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very good. That is your own contribution. That is your own way of exposing modern day slavery. Dr. Popola, what I know that you've keyed into being the eyes and the ears, and you mentioned that this is what we should do. We should pursue. We should prosecute. How do you intend to do that? And you being a lecturer too.
Indeed. I contributed to that movie as well. I was actually the minister in the movie that the victim came to see.
Okay.
And I was able to reassure her that she will not be deported back home. And then we mentioned the lack of Salvation Army and Africa and the new British Anti-Slavery or Modern Slavery Act 2015 to make sure she's protected. Yeah. But for me, I think it needs to start from back home. Yeah. The government
from
of
source.
Nigeria, from source.
Yes.
Take for example, now you go to a bank and you wanted to withdraw maybe about over 500 to 1,000 pounds. They will ask you, as somebody asks you to withdraw that money, what do you need the money for? It's your money. But there's law in place that you want to withdraw a large amount of money, you have to justify to the bank why you're doing that. So somebody is coming over with a young girl It could be me traveling with my daughter. I have no problem. Somebody stop me and say, who is she? Ask me a question. I have no problem. Because the moment you're not, that person is now for your relative
Not
or whatever.
confident, you don't give confident,
Yes.
confident
That's
answers.
right. People should be trained to identify this. Yeah? And if we're able to do that at source, we can stop this thing very, very, very quickly. So that's where we need to start.
Does it mean working with the government or
Working with government and training
how do we
those,
stop?
training those immigration officers.
Okay.
They shouldn't
to
just be
watch
there
out
to
for
say,
that.
oh, brother, what did you have for me today? Look around, observe the people passing by, and be ready to stop people and question them. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all trying to save our
So
country.
they don't have to take them all the way here.
Yes, right.
Before
Before
we see the,
yes.
the problem.
Prevention, and then if it's true that person was doing that, we'll prosecute you right away.
Straight away.
Don't
What
allow
the
him to bribe you.
traffickers,
Yes.
you know.
So that's my that's
I'll
where
ask
we
you
need
the
to start.
same question.
It's
Roger.
interesting. It's interesting because how far back do we want to go? The whole essence of modern day slavery is because there's a perceived opportunity somewhere. So it's facilitated. We also have to recognize that modern day slavery is perpetuated by criminal gangs. Okay? So if we go back and we are looking at perceived sense, yes, modern day slavery today is perpetuated mostly by criminal gangs. You have people who will organize groups of people to source for individuals from various vulnerable communities. Fact. So if we're going to go back to that point and we're looking for opportunities, we need to ask ourselves, why is it that a mother will think that child go with this auntie or uncle, because where that person is taking you to will be better than what I can give you here. So if we're looking about prevention, we should really go back and look at opportunities that are available to our young people at home. Nigeria is one of the major source countries of domestic servitude in the United Kingdom. Fact. So we need to look at those things. Now, if we yes, fair enough, we can look at various preventative measures at the various ports. We can look at those and say, yes, we need to be the eyes and people need to be trained and people need to speak up and not turn a blind eye. We can all talk about those things. But really, for me, is getting to the source of the issue. So we need to invest in small and medium industries. We need to invest more. And I know that's happening, but we need to invest a bit more.
How would that prevent it?
Because mothers, and I say mothers, it may not necessarily only be mothers, families
Parents,
will stop thinking that actually, as I'm handing over my child to a greener possibility, it's not actually the case. The greener possibility is here. Nobody actually wants to go anywhere, let's face it. They only go to another place because there's a lure, a perceived lure of a better life. If that better life is where in your familiar surroundings, in speaking a language you're familiar with, eating food that you're familiar with, allowing the warmth of sun that you're familiar with, nobody's going anywhere. So, my position
Your
is
take is
my take is at home.
to make it make an enabling environment or
At
comfortable
home.
environment, more investment
More investments, small and medium
by
industries.
individuals or the government.
I'm talking about individuals. Yeah,
Okay.
the government is one great big beast. I'm talking about individuals saying that, look, if I can set up, the good thing about the mobile phone, it generated so many little industries around the whole notion of the mobile phone. So I'm saying that there's so much going on there. The fashion industry, for example, that is booming across the world, that actually is coming from the African continent.
It
If
is.
we set up more industries around there, make it glamorous, why would a young girl think that, actually, I need to go to the United Kingdom? Why?
To be
When-
a servant.
No, she doesn't know she's going to be a servant. She thinks that it's going to be grand. If it's grand in Nigeria, for example, she won't need to go to the United Kingdom and then be a servant. People don't go, broadly speaking, people don't go to Nigeria to be people don't come from Nigeria to be a slave. They come from Nigeria thinking that what's going to happen is
Life
going
is
to be
going to be
good,
better.
but it's not.
Better
They're
life.
trapped. And that's what I'm trying to say, that investment may reduce that.
Can I just add to that?
Yes.
I think I totally agree with that. But I think the main point on that is educating these people, changing their mindset. Yeah, right from going to school and talk about modern slavery, the effect of it, going to churches and allowing our imam to talk about this and show a clip like the clip you've shown today to show that, listen, if anybody comes to you, this thing is not quite what it is. Don't fall for it. If we could educate our youngster, then some of these
Education.
Enlightenment. Yes.
Even to educate their moms, the mothers,
parents,
their parents, because they believe there's a push somewhere in Nigeria that life is not so good for us, it's not so rosy. You have 10 kids, you want somewhere to dispose them seek for a greener pasture. So London is seen as a better place to be. So if anybody approach any poor family, say, I want to take your daughter to seek a greener pasture, she will gladly dispose of that child. So it's to go home, like they rightly say, educate the moms and the dad as well.
The parents.
That when these auntie, this so-called uncle come to seek for your child or your daughter or your sons, please investigate them. Don't just let go because of the poverty condition.
You know, our culture entails the extended family system, whereby we help each other. If a brother dies and he leaves 4 children, members of the family take the children, or one of them who is very affluent will want to help with the children. Are you saying that we should not do that anymore?
No, I'm saying that there must be a framework. You can do that. That's why I made reference to what we call our traditional welfare system. What is good about our African culture is that it's broader than the nuclear mom, dad, and child. We believe in our brothers, sisters, and their family. They're my children.
Yeah.
So that is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But we must recognize the framework of care, which means, for example, all children must go to school.
Yes.
Some basic human rights. You cannot deny a child, because the child cannot speak, you cannot deny a person of their human rights. It's not acceptable. The only other point that I will say here is there's an issue of mental issues. Yes, there's this issue about the communities, the diasporan communities, they are going through so many conflicts of what they are, who they are, what they should be. They're confused. My name is Ronke. I'm proud to tell everybody that's my name. I'm not Veronica or Ronnie. I'm not going to make it sound
anglicized.
I'm not. I'm going to tell you my name is Ronke. I will explain how to pronounce it. There are so many issues about a conflict of culture. Okay, that causes anxiety, and they then take it out on the most vulnerable person near them, in the child. And the child that is not their flesh and blood, you will see them, the language that is used is abhorrent. And I think it comes from that conflict that is going on within the diasporan community, and that needs to be explored as well.
Wow, that's a little bit complex. But what I also got from your contribution, or what I think, is that if someone approaches you, that is we are back home or somewhere in Africa, and says that I want to help with taking one of your children or child and give them a better life. I see you're struggling. And if someone takes such a child, what makes the parents not follow through? Like they take your child away, you're all trusting. It's as if, oh yes, thank God, this child is gone. What about that bond? Wanting to get in touch all the time, wanting to know, follow through to say that, how are you, how is the child? Can I talk to my child? If you're doing that all the time, the moment you cannot talk to your child anymore, if they've gone to Britain, you go to the British Embassy. They have names and things. But I think a little bit of that lackadaisical attitude and trusting, or saying, oh, thank God, one less mouth to feed. So you see, if we look at the whole thing, the British government is making it unlawful, it's criminal to do this and that. What about us? What about the parent of that child that is being taken away, or that cousin or whoever that is being taken away? We have a duty as well. So, and then talk about Nigeria. Is it only Nigeria?
Statistically.
We are the top.
Well, I'm not surprised because we are the most populous nation in Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, when Nigeria sneezes,
giant.
everybody catch cold.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
That is
So,
very true.
whether it's a positive sneeze or a negative sneeze, we tend to spread the whole thing. So if we put it right and correct it, and I'm sure
will not happen
other countries will follow us.
Everywhere else.
The point I want to say in terms of that trusting nature, it's not as if the parents sit back. There's a cultural comfort zone that allows a Nigerian parent to let their child live with somebody else. And it's trust. Just like
It's part of our culture, isn't
It's
it?
our culture to trust the Almighty, unquestionably. Equally, we trust the person who says, I will look after your little one. They will say, okay, that's such a good thing. I will pray for you. Well done, We trust. So even though we can't speak to our little person, we will be praying, hey, God, please. It's that trust.
Protect that person.
Yes. Instead of us to voice out our concerns, I think that's what it is. It's a cultural
Thing.
position.
Well, we do have members of the audience here, and I want to know if there's anybody want to contribute or ask a question in the audience. Yes, that's been the case.
It's more just to reinforce this one aspect we need to bring out. There's a safeguarding issue as well. It's very important, what we'll be talking about is the safeguarding issue of the person has been trafficked and has been abused. And it goes across whether they're in Nigeria or whether they're coming over to England. Because most of these people we're talking about probably have no access to medical facility and they've not been cared for. So that's why it's very important within everything we're doing to promote it, to let people know there is an issue about making people aware, whether they go through the church, the imams, the social community, that we want to promote the safeguarding of our community. That's what I want to highlight as well.
Any other contribution?
Yeah.
Yes.
First of all, my name is Alex Omapayas. I'm the artistic director of Iroko Theatre Company. I want to say thank you to all of you, the contributors. What we have heard today is so interesting, raising awareness about this issue. I think what comes out here is mainly about education, raising awareness. And I will go back to Africa because about 5 years ago, I think Iroko was involved in doing a project around trafficked girls, using culturally appropriate way of dissemination of information. And by that, I mean using traditional African theater. And it is good, RSA, there's film involved now that you can project in a lot of places, so you are reaching more audiences. But when it comes to the root, where the problem lies, the people we need to target, our mothers, those mothers and fathers, at home, in Africa, Nigeria particularly, they're in the villages.
Yeah.
They have no connection with things electronics. So what do we do? Other than to resort to, in terms of raising awareness, and please, Salvation Army, this is actually to you as well, because there are traditional ways of disseminating information. The old, I'm not selling my theater company here, please, don't misunderstand me. But what works, because with Africa, I remember that with the evaluation that was done by Comic Relief, it actually praised the work of using traditional African theater means of raising awareness amongst, or not just awareness, of therapeutic work we did with those girls who were trafficked. And I think that it is the type of method that back home in Africa, there are people there that you can use, Afroca, Salvation Army, to help raise awareness amongst our people there in Nigeria. That is what my contribution is.
This is a very interesting topic, and we've all had something to take away, different ways to make sure that we're able to stem it, we're able to be part of it, not isolate ourselves. Education from Mrs. Ronke Udofia, education from Ruth, education even when they get here, creating awareness in different ways. Dr. Kokola wants to pursue, and then to make sure that they are prosecuted. Pursue, that means do not take your eyes off. Be the eyes and the ears, as Emily and Gilikis have said. So we're all involved in it. And then don't let them go. Make sure that you follow through and they are prosecuted so that they'll be example to others. And my filmmaker here, who is also an actress and tallies with what Alex, the executive, Iroko executive, said in the audience. Do it, present it in the theatrical way. Make a film. So establish it in the minds of people so that you will know the terrible thing that goes on, the crime in it, what the people in it are going through, and how to pinpoint it, how to see it, how to identify it. So we have various methods which can work. But individually, we have a lot to do. And we all have to come together to eradicate, or at least try to stem modern day slavery. Yeah. Thank you very much, audience. Thank you, my panelists.
Thank you very much.
And, we look forward to another edition next time. Thank you.